Hi, welcome to Inhale Life Asthma Conversations from the Chicago Asthma Consortium. My name is Sharmili Nienhuis, and I'm an asthma physician and professor of pediatrics at the University of Chicago. Today, we're diving into the successful launch of the inaugural School Nurses Lunch and Learn series in Illinois, which is an innovative program designed to equip school nurses with knowledge and tools to improve student health outcomes, especially for children living with asthma. Joining me today is Gloria Barrera, and she is a nationally recognized leader in school nursing, education, and advocacy. She's also one of the Chicago Asthma Consortium board members, and today she's going to tell us a little bit about what inspired her to start this series and the impact it's having already. So let's get started. So again, nice to have you on the podcast, Gloria, today. Can you just start by telling us what inspired you to create this School Nurses Lunch and Learn series?
Yeah, thank you. Well, first, thank you for having me on today. It really is an honor to join the conversation, not only as a nurse leader, but also as a public health advocate, but also now in my new role as a board member of the CAC. So my journey with the CAC began when I really saw a gap. So it was a need that I saw among school nurses for accessible, high quality professional development around asthma care. Asthma is one of the most common chronic conditions in children. We know that. And school nurses are on the front lines of managing it in schools every day. But really, too often, these nurses don't have the time, the resources, or the direct opportunities to build their knowledge in a way that really fits in their daily realities. So I reached out to the CAC with an idea. And then I got to work, or I was put to work. I did create the School Nurse Lunch and Learn series, and it was to meet that very need. So I designed it to be short, virtual, practical, and just those 30 minutes that we have all known now of those, lunch break series. But it was really packed with evidence-based strategies that school nurses could immediately take back to their practice, to their health offices, and as someone who was then a both practicing school nurse and as an educator, I knew exactly how valuable it would be for my colleagues to have content that was direct, actionable, and respectful of their time. So it was launched in spring of 2025, and we launched our very first, three-part series. So I can talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, so just kind of building off that, like what were some of the topics that you guys prioritized for those first few sessions and like why did you prioritize those? So,
Yeah, so the first one was on April 30th, and that was managing asthma in schools. It was just beyond the basics. So, looking at implementing asthma action plans, recognizing and mitigating the triggers, for example, and responding with confidence to asthma emergencies. We are one of very few states that have rescue inhalers in schools. So, those albuterols, and that's through the AIR program. But it just making sure that the school nurses had that confidence to manage and to really oversee asthma emergencies in their school buildings. That was key to include in that in that first session. The second session was May 14th, and that was one diving into environmental justice and health equity, and that was with the American Lung Association, Dr. Mimi Hirakocha, and Susan Mudd. They were exploring how social and environmental inequities directly affect the children that we care for. And then that final one in the series, well, for the spring, was on May 28th, and that was indoor air quality and student health. And it was again featuring somebody from the American Lung Association, and it was focusing on school environments themselves and how they can either support or undermine a child's health. So making sure that we were looking at it more from a bird's eye view there. So the goal wasn't just to teach, it was really to equip the school nurses with what they needed to be successful, to be advocates, and to be empowered to be those leaders in the school buildings. So the feedback that we got was really clear that it was the right approach, and nurses told us that they appreciated having something designed for them, and something that they could easily access in real time, and knowing now that it's recorded that they can go back and refresh, and something that left them with tools that they could use immediately. So we'll be revisiting that again next spring so that we could build off of the previous series.
Okay. Um, so it does sound like you got some feedback from the school nurses that did participate. Were there any like stories or any fe additional feedback that you got from the participants that really stood out to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just one of the most powerful outcomes came from a nurse who attended that first session on asthma action plans. Her realizing that she wasn't consistently updating or implementing them every year. So after that session, she worked with her principal and local providers, and within weeks they were able to get every student with asthma had a current individualized plan. So that's just the type of ripple effect that I envisioned when I created the series. Knowledge turning into direct action, and then action turning into healthier outcomes for kids. Because it is true that we can request asthma action plans, but then if they're not turned in, well, they're not turned in, right? But just making sure that we're also reaching out to our providers in the area and letting them know where's the barrier here, where can we work together to eliminate those barriers, to make sure that students are getting access to care, and maybe that's the barrier. So making sure that she was aware of what she could do to make sure that she was in compliance with all of her students. Another surprise was just how interactive the sessions became,
Hmm.
also after. So I'm part of the Illinois Association of School Nurses, so knowing that there were conversations even after about the CAC series. So nurses weren't just listening, they were really sharing their own solutions, their own challenges in different pockets of neighborhoods across Illinois, and their advocacy efforts as well. So as I mentioned, that having the rescue inhaler, knowing that other states want to also get involved with having the AIR program, knowing that we were successful in our advocacy efforts here in Illinois, then they want to hear from us. So we really are those change makers, and we can start strengthening our understanding so that we can be used as advocates. So really that peer-to-peer engagement reinforced again what I always believed, and that's when nurses connect with one another, especially school nurses, we can really amplify our own impact instead of just keeping it in the school building.
Yeah, great. And so as you're, thinking ahead for kind of additional lunch and learn series, what are some of your goals for for these next steps? So.
I think, oh, I have a lot, but I'll maybe focus on just one. So um, it's now seeing how we can help our school nurses, help students have fewer emergency room visits, fewer missed school days. So attendance, it's big. And just how do we improve those outcomes? Whether it's staying in the classroom and helping those students, decrease their emergency room visits. Those are they might look like abstract outcomes, but they are measurable changes. So hopefully we can start tracking those to see the difference between a child, for example, missing, let's say, 15 days of school versus them only missing half of that and being present and thriving. The difference between maybe a 911 call rather than a nurse that's prepared and has the rescue inhaler, the undesignated rescue inhaler on hand through the AIR program. So those kind of strategies, I would hope that those can start being more measurable through the sessions, so that we can continue improving. And I think in most cases, it's, saving lives.
Yeah, great. And are there any plans to maybe expand the reach and impact in, coming years? As far as I know, this sounds like it's probably focused in the state of Illinois, but are there, thoughts about expanding this to other states?
Yeah, I mean that would be the dream, to
Mhm.
to have it be a national series. And I think there are some things in the works with the National Association of School Nurses, so definitely more to come on that. But it goes back to that idea, that vision, that when we get school nurses together to collaborate and to share ideas, that's when the real change happens. Um,
Mhm.
but I did know that education was only part of the solution. So with that, I also created this new emerging leader program, that we can also discuss.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to learn a little bit more of that about that. Tell me, how you're kind of building leaders within, the school nurses.
Yeah, I again saw that there was a gap, of just having leadership in that space. So the Chicago Asthma Consortium was perfect in my opinion to lead this effort. So it will be a 6 month experience, and it's designed to equip school nurses, and also public health nurses, not only as skilled clinicians, because that, they already are, but as leaders and advocates in asthma and allergy care. So right now we have it open to up to 6 individuals, but building the program, I really wanted to provide three things. So the first was the clinical expertise through updated guidelines and case-based learning. The second was leadership skills, so empowering those school nurses to really drive change in their own communities, whether it's in a school, whether it's in an asthma van, wherever they're practicing. And then also connecting them with experts and mentors who can support their growth, long after the program ends. But at right now, when we're looking at it for 6 months, what's the end goal? It really is to be intentional. It's because at the end of it, I do want them to all present, if it's 6 of them, if it's two, if it's three, for them all to present at the World Asthma Day conference that the CAC has, either by serving as speakers if they're so moved, as panelists, which I'm sure that they will be very qualified to do, or as poster presenters, just to share that knowledge of what is it that they improved on within their own practice, or what did they learn, or what's their next goal. I think that that needs to be shared so that there's an increase in that visibility, for others to step into leadership roles as well. And my goal in creating the program was really simple. It's to build a pipeline of nurse leaders who will carry this work forward for many years to come. Because while I might be the first maybe school nurse to be on the board, I definitely don't want to be the last. I
Mhm.
want to make sure that there are plenty more that come after.
Okay. I'm interested because you're so passionate about like the work that you do. Like how did you get into advocacy and now like into your leadership positions?
Yeah, I would say that it started for me on a very personal level, where I got involved with using my voice. And this was back in 2016. I was flown to DC to talk to legislators about the impact of methane emissions. But really, I think my that like fire for being an advocate started when I witnessed um, the issues that were directly impacting where I grew up. So I grew up in Crestwood, Illinois, and we were drinking contaminated water for many years, and that led to a lot of illness and death. Cancer rates that are high. For anybody that's curious, just look that up. Crestwood, Illinois water scandal. So really, that really led and fueled my passion for advocacy. So yes, I'm a nurse. Yes, I'm an educator, but I am a educator, but I'm a fierce advocate, and that is where I've now sort of led my efforts in different spaces to use my voice. So I was part of Healing Politics. That's helping nurses that are either interested in running for office or just interested in the legislative process, educating them on campaigning, things like that. So I was part of that cohort this past July, and also part of the American Nurses Association, their Policy Institute. So right now, CAC's mission really does complement my passions, and I'm ready to take that collective power and to build it with others.
Great, great. And then what's one message you would want our listeners to take away really about the importance of school nursing and improving like student health outcomes? And yeah, I'll stop there.
I think for those listeners today that may not know of a school nurse or they're themselves are not school nurses, I want you to know that we are not just healthcare providers in schools. We are essential public health leaders. And when we as a public, right, invest in school nurses by providing them with education, for example, by equipping them with leadership skills, and by giving them a platform to connect and to advocate for themselves and for the communities, we don't just improve asthma outcomes. We improve attendance, we improve academic success, equity, and opportunity for the students that they serve. So the school lunch and learn series will be coming back, and that's going to be next year. And then the emerging leader program is well underway. So those are just two initiatives that I'd love to continue on, and looking at it as the gap that's being filled. But there are others, and I'm willing to collaborate on any listener that has an idea or that's already working in a space that you might need a school nurse or a public health nurse to serve. Please reach out to me. I'm more than willing to share my time and talents in different spaces. So I really wanted to thank you for allowing me to just share this work, shining a spotlight on the role of school nurses and the very role that advances health equity and outcomes for all students across Illinois. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing this like really important work, and it's really inspiring. And I was just going to ask like how can our listeners maybe get involved, and it sounds like you're definitely open to people reaching out to you. So we'll make sure that your information is shared alongside the video in case they're interested in reaching out to you. So again, yes, I definitely, want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us and share, as I said, your amazing work. And we hope to have you back again to share maybe, how the emerging leadership program is going and, your future iterations of the Lunch and Learn program.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to. That would be part two.
Yeah.
But until then, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the October podcast on Inhale Life Asthma Conversations from the Chicago Asthma Consortium. Thank you.